Hi there, and welcome to Clean Chat. Today we have on the fabulous Tabitha James Kraan. She is founder of Tabitha James Kraan All Natural Hair Care. She is a wife, mother, hairdresser, hair formulator, and passionate about natural and organic hair care and much more. I started using her hair care products, especially dry shampoo, years ago. So I am so excited to have her on the podcast today. So thank you, Tabitha, for coming on to the Clean Chat.
My pleasure.
So excited to have you on. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and how you started Tabitha James Kraan Hair Care?
Yes, of course. Well, I always call myself a hair geek because I'm somebody who's massively interested in the fabric that is hair. I love to kind of, really get into the nitty gritty, as it were, of what the hair, how the hair actually behaves and with what we're doing to it in relation to the products we use, but also in relation to sort of atmosphere and all of those things. Anything that can impact or change the hair, I'm interested in a sort of quite a sciencey way, really, I suppose, in analysing and trying out, different ways of changing that behaviour. And I've been an organic hairdresser for 20 years already. So when I first started doing that, I literally was declared a nutter. Everybody thought I was mad, that like, what was I talking about? What is organic hairdressing? I mean, people would literally say to me, so what do you mean? What is organic hairdressing? What can that be? Back in 1999, it was just, not really a thing. And as I said, at that point, I've always been this sort of geeky person around hair. So for me, it was then also realizing as a hairdresser, I was actually pregnant in 1999 with our eldest son, and my midwife told me to stop coloring my hair, which just stopped me in my tracks because I really thought I knew it all. I thought I knew everything there was to know about hair. But even at that point, and even today, actually, nobody in the hairdressing industry teaches about the absorption into the body. They still don't talk about the fact that the chemicals used in our industry actually are obviously, our scalp being an open orifice straight into the bloodstream. This is one of the highest concentration of hair follicles on our whole body. It's one of the most dangerous places we could put chemicals, and yet it's still not a conversation in the industry, which I find really shocking still. That, as for me, that started a whole different train of thought, because I thought, oh gosh, well, first of all, I can't do that to my unborn child, but equally, I can't do that to other people. If I'm putting it on their bodies, what's the impact on them? How does that affect them? So yeah, it was a big shift in my thinking.
And how was that, being the woman entrepreneur that you are? Did you find it difficult to kind of introduce that to your clients? Or like you said earlier, like everyone thought you were crazy. Did you find it more difficult because you were a woman?
Yeah, probably. It's really interesting because I've owned my own salon since I was 23 years old, and I'm now 49 years old. So I've been.
You don't look it, by the way. You don't
Thank
look
you very much. Thank you. I've been doing this for a long time, and as a woman, I've always done my own thing. I've always been a businesswoman. I've always, for all of that time, I've always been entrepreneurial, always been thinking and constantly looking at new ideas and growing what I'm doing. It didn't ever occur to me that anything changed because I was male or female. Just like, because the fact that I'm a woman didn't really, because I've never worked in the corporate world, I've never really had uncomfortable situations about being a woman. Mm-hmm. So I'm just doing my thing. But then just occasionally so in the situations where maybe I'm in front of a bank manager, or maybe I'm in front of somebody more official industry wise, or people are saying to me, well, why are there not as many females in the top of the hairdressing industry? Well, I kind of left the hairdressing industry because I went off and started another industry, mm-hmm. and pioneering everything around the organic hairdressing industry. So, and there aren't many males alongside me. I am bumping into many more females around the world, and
That's
it's
awesome.
starting to get more males interested, but it's predominantly still quite out there on my own. So that's a really interesting question, but I'm not sure that it's, I don't have that much experience of it. I'm just like going, well, you know what? Everybody, I'm just doing what I'm doing, and I'm really loud and proud about that, and proud to be doing it as a female.
Awesome. And so as an organic hair formulator, how long did it take you to create your products? And could you tell us a bit more about them?
Sure. So I would say that, well, once I'd established that I didn't want to be a traditional hairdresser anymore and I wanted to go organic, very early on, I started working with raw ingredients, because I quickly learned that the first product ranges I could find were really from health food stores. I couldn't find anything that commercially, there was a full commercial hair care brand that was organic enough for what I was looking for at the time. So
Definitely.
I could either find brands that compromised that sort of had, talked to the organic story, or I could find products from health food stores that were truly organic. So what I started to do early on is to work with raw ingredients, and work with natural oils, work with making emulsions of my own that I could really sort of tell the difference in the way that they behaved on hair. So my early learning, I suppose, was around that, and recognizing that the purer I got the ingredients, the better results I could get with the hair. So I think I've been talking to people who've known me for a while recently, and they were saying, well, we were having these conversations about 15 years ago now. So I would say probably from about 15 years ago, that's sort of when all of that first started. I started having the products properly formulated in the lab at about 6 years ago, and that's when I started to have them in my salon. So we had them in the salon for a good 3 years as a testing ground before we started selling them out on the open market.
And they are fabulous. Could you tell us about, so I'd say my favorite product, as I said, is the dry shampoo, but you also have a 4-in-1 conditioner. What are the top ingredients in there, and why do your customers love them so much?
The dry shampoo is all about really helping with what do you do with your hair on the days when you're not washing it. So it's amazing for volumizing, as I'm sure you've established. It's my desert island product as well. I really couldn't live without it. I've just had a little fix before I came on set here. For me, it just gives me a happier hair. It gives me so much more hair. I think that's why people love it. The more you use, the fuller the hair goes, and the more sort of volume that you can get. And when your hair is oily and needing to be washed in between washes, it totally does change the way it feels immediately. You can lose that kind of any itchy scalp, any sort of like, oh gosh, I should have washed my hair this morning midway through the day. That just goes immediately that you put it into the scalp. Would you agree? Do you have that experience too when you use it?
Definitely. Yeah, I love it.
It totally absorbs the oil and just lifts it so it feels fat straight away.
And it's such a relief to know. I mean, before this, I used, cheap dry shampoo, and it had all kinds of chemicals in it. And I just wonder, if you're paying $3 for a product, what are they, or $5, what are they putting in there? It doesn't make sense. And so it's just, for me, it works just as well or better. And it's natural, and I don't have to worry about, like you said, things penetrating my scalp and then eventually getting into my bloodstream.
No, absolutely. It's so effective the way that it works. And we started with about 30 different natural powders, because for me as a hairdresser, I'm always asked about ingredients, and ingredients are of course important, but they're important for me because of the way they feel and the weight of them and the way they work in relation to the hair. So when it comes to the dry shampoo, it's not about them as actives. I feel that in the hairdressing world, there are many, many products that are talking all about ingredients that are supposed to miraculously change the way your hair behaves. In a wash, for example, if it were a shampoo, then this, all these supposedly magical ingredients that are going to completely transform the hair. For me, it's just complete marketing rubbish. I don't believe in that. I really don't believe that that's the way. Hair as a fabric is totally behaves like a dry sponge. And how you affect that fabric is what moisture is in the product or what moisture isn't in the product, I would say, are the two key elements to how products behave. So with the dry shampoo, it's about the way the powders will sit into the hair. It's about the weight the effect that they would have on the weight. And it was about how absorbent those powders are to take away the natural oils and take them up into the hair without clogging up the scalp, and without feeling heavy or looking dull.
Yeah.
So those are really the key factors to how that product functions. So as I say, we started with 30 different powders, and we tried lots and lots of different combinations until we got the weight absolutely right, until it gave us the fullness in the hair, it gave us the texture in the hair, and it had the right level of absorbency without having too much absorbency that it then would absorb moisture from the atmosphere and humidity or whatever. So, you know, it really was about playing scientifically with the way those two things behaved in relation to each other. Because it is a powder that sits in amongst the hair. The ingredients really are not, it isn't something that's going to actually change the hair. It's just going to affect by the way that it sits in the hair. When it comes to other products in my range, you talked earlier, it mentioned the 4-in-1 conditioner. That's similar in a way in that, again, what I was really interested in as a hair geek was how this product is going to behave in the way that it sits into the hair and moisturizes it. Because if we think about our hair as a dry sponge, if it's completely dried out and hasn't got any moisture in it, then as soon as you go into a humidity or a moist atmosphere on a rainy day, for example, then the first thing the hair's going to do is suck up that moisture. And if your hair is already maybe wavy, or even if your hair's dead straight, the first thing that's going to happen is it will change by the fact that it's getting wet. So if, on the other hand, that hair is really well moisturized and sealed with a natural oil and in really good shape, it's got everything it needs, a full sponge in effect, then it can't ask for more from the atmosphere and therefore won't change. So you've got your beautiful blow dry, your hair's really well moisturized. You can go outside not in a rainy, getting it wet in the rain, but you've got an umbrella. The moisture in the atmosphere is not going to make your hair change. And that's the bit that's really crucial in my philosophy and the way I think about hair. I believe strongly that what we've got to do most of all is recognize that this delicate fabric needs to be moisturized and protected first and foremost. It's not about putting protein back into the hair to strengthen it, because actually that doesn't ever work. It's only ever a temporary fix. If we can get a good moisturizing routine, and if we can seal the hair with oil, oiling hair for me is a really big deal and a very important part of hair care, because we'll all remember stories that our grandparents may have told us about, you know, the way they would brush their hair and sort of this idea of 100 strokes a day, brushing those oils through the hair. Well, what that was doing was really sealing and protecting the ends of the hair by moving the natural oil through the length. It's the same with an animal's coat. You know, if we groom and brush, then you suddenly start to get lovely shine and healthy, a healthy coat in their case. With our hair, if we can put oil roots to tips, but a very, very fine amount of oil, so exactly the same as we would sort of have that acid mantle on our skin. You know, if you look at your own hand, you see a slight sheen on your skin, but when you feel it, you don't feel oil. That's what we're talking about. That's the natural seal that we should have on our hair. And if we brushed our hair enough, we would have that natural seal on the hair. But the very fact that we use shampoos that are degreasants and are designed to remove all of the oil, it's gone. So what we have left is this hair that's behaving like this empty shell, this dry sponge that is then becomes really overreactive to atmosphere. And that's why one of the predominant problems with hair is that it's frizzy, fluffy, fly away, lank. You know, all these problems are caused by the fact that that hair doesn't have its protective layer in the first place. So I'm really big on putting that oil back. And then once the oil is there and you've sealed, if it's a natural oil, when you then moisturize your hair, it will travel through the oil. It will then attach to, you know, the sponginess of the hair inside. It will sit inside the hair and it will be there to give the hair its lovely natural weight and buoyancy and shine and sheen again. And we end up with happy, healthy hair that's behaving itself. If, on the other hand, those oils are synthetic, one, you can't penetrate them. So then when you try and moisturize your hair, it doesn't work because you've got this plastic layer of silicones that's affecting that, you know, your relationship, the ability to change the hair. And two, when those silicones are in place, they actually really weaken the hair on the inside. So the hair becomes much more susceptible to breakage. Yeah, and also those silicones in a synthetic product, because you can't travel through it, you suddenly got hair that you actually can't influence or can't change or improve. So that's another reason why silicones on the hair become really, really bad. Let's not even start to talk about what the impact of those silicones is on the planet.
Yeah, speaking of which, what are some of the ingredients that people should look? Obviously, when people use your products, they don't need to worry about these dirty ingredients, but what are the dirty ingredients that are found in most mainstream hair care products?
I think we're all kind of clear on paraben-free, sulfate-free. You know, we don't want any petrochemicals in our products. We shouldn't we don't want sulfates because they are just so strong. I mean, most sulfates are the same sort of ingredients as industrial floor cleaner, and a lot of washing products, hair washing products, even baby washing products are really loaded with very strong sulfates. This is just really bad. It's just we don't want to, as a natural fiber, we don't want to keep stripping our hair, and we don't want to have those. We don't want those chemicals anywhere near our body, and we definitely don't want to be washing them down the plug hole and into our water systems as well. The other big one that I'm just totally, as I said, I just mentioned silicons, but I have a real problem with silicons. For me, these are just such baddies, and they really trash the hair for a starting point. But also, you've got this huge problem that, when we're talking about microbeads in the sea, this is nanoparticles of silicons and other plastics that are making their way. It's not literally just the beads that you might find in an exfoliator. It's way more than that. I mean, if you talk to scientists who are looking at what's actually in the water, these fine particles that make their way through our filtering systems, and they're making their way into the sea. And it's, it's when those industrial chemicals that are then getting flushed through, it's when they then come into contact with the big plastic islands that are floating around in the sea. It's the combination of the two together that is so poisonous and so toxic for the seas. And I think we all have to take responsibility for that. It's not just the plastic. We've got to be really conscious of the packaging, but we've also got to be conscious of the choices we're making, which is why it's so wonderful that you're doing what you're doing and really highlighting the fact that, clean beauty is really important. Yeah. It really is important because as women, we're not going to change our habits. We want to use product, and our worlds work by the fact that we're using product, but we can do it in a good way. We can have it all now. And I think the thing is that we've just got to we've really got to drill down on those ingredients and make sure that they're not sneaking into our products. Early on in my journey as an organic hairdresser, I really did establish that by changing to natural ingredients, the performance of the hair was beyond my wildest dreams. It was so much better. Because hair is a natural fiber, it is just so much happier when you use natural ingredients on it. It makes a world of difference. And in terms of how our body behaves, it is the same as with natural hair care, truly natural hair care. So I don't mean a product that's just got some nice natural ingredients in it. I mean that the whole total ingredient, the total formulation is natural. If you can achieve that in a product, the way that product works in harmony with the body is completely different to when you infiltrate that product, even with a small amount of chemical. Because the body starts to harmonize. What a natural product will do, same as with your skin as with your scalp, is that it will rebalance. It will start to come into a harmonious relationship with the product. So you can use the product to wake up the body, to make the body start to function in the way that it should. Whereas a synthetic product will shut the body down in the way that it behaves and make it become reliant on the way the product performs. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so it's the same with skincare. It really does make a difference. If you're using something really pure and natural on your skin, then suddenly your skin starts to come alive and you can see that the products are really enhancing it. Whereas if you're using a synthetic product, the skin is just it looks good whilst you're using the cream. But the second you stop using the cream, it's because it's stopped working. It's not actually your skin that's looking good. It's just the cream faking it, essentially.
Right. Yeah. It's nearly like your body has to go through this detox, and then it starts to absorb these products. And like you said, your body will thank you for using these natural products.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And as Tabitha said, you feel like you're missing out, but you need to try these products because you're actually not. You'll find that it's actually just as good or even better for your hair. And so Tabitha James Kraan has 3 core principles that they believe in for great hair care and that it's founded on. Can you tell us a little bit about those 3 principles?
Yeah. Well, I've sort of touched on them a little bit with what I've been saying around the oiling. My first principle is oil balancing, because I think that the core principle of oil balancing, it is simply because if you're talking to the body with natural oil, you're telling the body that there is enough oil here, you can calm down how much you're producing. If you've had a lifetime of shampooing your hair, a lifetime of stripping away the oil from the scalp, and your body has had to, conjure up enough oil to keep putting that oil back again on a daily basis. If you wash your hair daily, that is. Imagine how much moisture your body's having to make that it shouldn't really have to do.
That's a good point. Yeah.
There's a lot of moisture that you're putting a massive pressure on your body to really keep creating that. And where's it coming from? You're dehydrating your skin. It's going to be aging your body.
That's a good point, because like it's the same with skincare. It's that, if you don't use like something that's going to bring natural oils to your skin or your face, it's going to force your body to create those oils. And then that's when you start having these breakouts and all of these issues. And the same goes for your scalp and your hair.
Yes, absolutely. But that's why the products need to be in total natural. And then for me, organic is important, because once you've got natural ingredients, I want to make sure then that we take away any risk of contamination of those natural ingredients. So if we say that they're organic as well, and we try and find as many of those natural ingredients organically, then we can guarantee that through the process of those ingredients being grown and produced, that we haven't contaminated the product with any unnecessary chemicals that would affect the total naturalness of the product. So that's what I'm looking at when I'm trying to create products. And my starting point is always 100% natural. And anything that I can get certified, in other words, somebody's actually proving to me that it's organic, that's why I want certification around it. Then I can ensure that I've made a product that's got no contamination, and we've got the purest end result that we can possibly have. So then when you work that way with an oil, you get the scalp starts to rebalance, and the hair, as I said before, rather than having to brush your hair 100 strokes a day, my hair oil will do that instantly. So no matter how damaged or dry your hair is, if you do a hair oil treatment, you can fix it straight away. You can just get that hair into happier, bouncier, beautiful hair straight away by sealing it with a natural oil and bringing it back to life. It really is that instant in the way that it works, but it's doing all of that with natural ingredients. So it makes it more effective. My second principle then is correct cleansing, because I'm saying, well, if we're going to all that trouble to get the hair in good shape and to put the oil back, then what we don't want to do is wash it out every single time we wash our hair. So thinking about the way we wash our hair is important. I'm really keen to make sure that we never, whatever you're using, that you don't rub through the length of the hair and really lather up the ends of the hair, because, you wouldn't do that with a cashmere jumper. And we have to think of our hair as being that delicate, and that we should nurture it and be careful with it in the same way. So when we cleanse, we need to use, again, natural ingredients that are just going to work in harmony with the scalp, and focus on washing the scalp and the root area. The only time that I would ever wash or cleanse through the ends of the hair is if you've just done an oil treatment. I normally, with my hair oil, I normally suggest that it stays on overnight so that your hair can take as much, most of the oil overnight. But if there's a little bit too much in the morning, and you'd know that before you go in the shower, then you could just very lightly smooth over those ends just to take the excess off, and then rinse straight away. You never ever need to rub the ends of your hair with shampoo or hair cleanser, that is. The way you would look after and clean the hair, I would say, is always with your conditioner. So by using a nice moisturizer, and my 4-in-1 conditioner is wonderful for that, because one of the 4 uses is to use it in the shower as a detangler. And that's a really great way to then, you can comb it through, rinse that, and that's going to clean anything that you may have needed to clean through the length of the hair. So food smells, the smell of the traffic, if you're in the city, etc. That will all come out when you're using the conditioner and rinsing it off again.
Okay.
And then I also, because I said it's a 4-in-1, it's also a fabulous leave-in conditioner. So you'd apply it just to the weakest areas that need that extra layer. And I would always use it as a styling aid. So that the 4-in-1 conditioner is designed to be applied roots to tips and blow dry in, so you've got your heat protection, and it actually really bulks and pads and volumizes the hair in that process. It's amazing how it protects, and sort of helps you. If the hair's got wave in it and you want to soften and smooth it, then you can do that, because if hair is demoisturized, it becomes stiff and it breaks easily and it snaps easily, and it's not easy to mold and maneuver. So if you can really moisturize it well, when you start to blow dry, it behaves so well, and you can literally do whatever you need to do with it, because it becomes this wonderful fabric that's just, literally putty in your hands. It's just easy and malleable and form any shape that you want to shape. One last use is that you can do that wet or dry. So because it's a hair moisturizer, that's a really different, I don't know that anybody else that makes a moisturizer that you can do that with, but that you can still, so I would encourage somebody to use my 4-in-1 conditioner. Literally, if you're when you moisturize your face in the morning, also moisturize your hair. Same at night. And because you're constantly topping up that moisture, which is my third principle, that if you constantly top it up, then you don't ever get to the point where it's a dry sponge, because it's always a very moisturized sponge. So it doesn't ask for more when you go outside, because inevitably moisture evaporates. We can't avoid that fact. And if you live, if you're in LA and it's warm, in a warm climate, then of course the moisture will evaporate when you've been out in the sun. But if you're constantly putting a little and often back into the hair, then it just keeps it balanced.
I have a question for you about that. Actually, so I'm in LA now, but living in the UK, what damage does the cold air do to your hair as winter is coming?
I'm not sure that the cold air does damage that much, to be honest. I think that, again, the two elements that I've spoken about with the oiling and the moisturizing, if you're doing those things regularly, then your hair is very well protected against the cold or the heat. The cooler air doesn't make the hair evaporate quite so much, but the difference is that if you're going inside into warm, because you've got heating on in your home, then you might find that your the moisture is evaporating from your hair because of that. So that's another reason why that repeat application, a little and often, morning and night. I'll put some on now and show you, but this is my 4-in-1 conditioner. So if I just take one pump of that now, so it's just like a film onto my hands. Literally, I can just put that on now, and you won't see it. It'll just smooth out the hair.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So you wear it. It's a moisturizer that you wear. And by topping that up constantly, then the hair just gets to a point where it doesn't need to ask for more.
Right, yeah.
So I would say the other thing is then that when you're using the oil treatment, that sort of super boosts this routine, if you like, because you've sealed the hair down here that's weaker in your length, for example, or even if you've got bob length hair, then it might be your top layers that have had more heat over the years, more sunshine, maybe a bit more color, all of those things that might weaken the hair. By sealing it well with the hair oil, then that hair has already got that very fine coating that makes it feel stronger. And then when you moisturize, it will attach to the oil and protect those weaker areas better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. You have so much knowledge about that. Okay, perfect. So
I could talk all day.
So number 1 is oil balancing. Number 2 is correct cleansing. And then what is your third principle?
The third principle is moisture layering.
Right,
moisture. I'm talking about. So you'd be using it as a detangler in the shower. There's your one layer that you rinse off. But if your hair doesn't feel dirty, so if you hadn't washed it for 5 days and you've been in the city, of course you're going to want to rinse that conditioner off. But if you're washing it again, you washed it 2 days ago, the hair feels pretty clean, you're just really washing it to refresh it, then you probably don't need to rinse that conditioner off completely. So there's your first layer of moisture already. So I would have towel dried squeezed off the moisture, put the conditioner on, comb it through and think, okay, this feels great, I don't need to rinse it through. But I would then apply a little more to maybe the ends because they're a bit weaker. So I'll give them a bit of extra protection. Then when I come to blow dry, I'll take maybe 3 or 4 pumps and I'll work that through roots to tips, and then I'll blow dry it in. So then I've already got 3 layers of moisture on my hair. By the time I've dried it, of course, some of that's dried off with the heat. So I've probably been left with 2 good layers of moisture, but my hair then looks happy, healthy, and moisturized. That evening, I may apply another layer just to top it up, and I would do the same the following morning. and I would keep going with that until I next wash my hair. So it's just having a product that's so multifunctional that you can keep applying in between washes just enables you to keep that going, because otherwise your moisturizing only happens once when you're in the shower, when you're putting conditioner onto the hair.
That's true. Yeah. And so you've given us a lot of pointers, which I'm sure we're so excited to take away. What is the biggest problem you find people come to you with as a hairdresser?
I think frizzy hair is the thing that everybody's just, gets really wound up about. And for me, that's totally caused by the way people wash their hair.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say, no matter what you're using, is stop washing the life out of your hair. Stop scrubbing your hair with shampoo. That really, if you change that really changes your hair straight away.
But scrub your scalp?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
really give your hair scalp a really deep clean. Yeah, definitely. Really get plenty of product into your scalp and give it a really good rinse. And that is enough to refresh the ends of the hair. You don't need to ever rub through the length of the hair. So I would say that would be my big tip to tell everybody to do. But then I'd also say, of course, use a natural product. If that's also really important. The more natural you can get your product, the better your hair will behave, the happier it will be. And so 20 years I've been on this journey. I didn't have to make my own products. I was personally challenged by my experience that my midwife gave me, but it would have been so much easier if the products really were better in the mainstream industries. I'd have gone back, because first and foremost, I'm a hair geek. That was my thing. I needed to get the best results from hair because I run a very busy salon. I'm really proud of being a fabulous, a really great hairdresser. That for me, I have to deliver the best I can do. Mm-hmm. So if the products weren't better natural, I wouldn't have gone that way. But I know that they are. The performance was right in front of me, and no matter what I tried, I just got better and better results by getting. But the problem is, and I think why this hasn't been believable, is because products out there are not 100% natural. They are natural-ish. They've got natural ingredients in. That's not enough. It has to be totally natural to really get that high performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of greenwashing, or I'll say, oh, it has something like tea tree oil in it, but really all the other 99% of the ingredients are terrible. So, and so that is why Pure has Tabitha James Kraan's products in their salon. There's the deep clean conditioner.
Oh yes. The clean conditioner.
The
clean conditioner, which is a really deep. It's the total opposite to my 4-in-1. The clean conditioner is fantastic. It's incredibly pure, and this is a one-hit conditioner. So this product, you only need to put it where you need it because it's so rich, but it will just absorb straight into the hair, and it makes the hair feel amazing for days.
And also the clean shampoo. So if you use any of their spa treatments, those are in their spas now to try. It's my personal favorite as well. Totally clean. Yeah. Beautiful product. They're beautiful. And that's the other thing, is that it's also something you want to have on your bathroom shelf. Even the dry shampoo, like just throw it in your purse. They have a compact one. It's super cute. Yeah, that's a full size
shaker and the dry shampoo.
Yeah, how cute is that? I
modeled this on like a 1950s compact. I wanted it to be something that you could, that we girls would covet and want to have in our handbag. It's got a beautiful design. It's just so lovely to use, and you literally pop off the lid, spray into the hair, and it's like lift and go. You literally, it just refreshes those roots, and off you go. And it smells great too, doesn't it?
It
All
does,
of my products are aromatherapy scented because I was determined. I'm such a girly girl, and I love products. I am a product junkie too. I really wanted this to be really pure, but it had to be really good and really, fun to use and really enjoyable. As you say, something that you really want to have in your bathroom or on your dressing table.
Yeah, you definitely do. They're so beautiful. And then there's also the hair oil, which is doing very well as well. Yeah, and inside there's a little stone as well.
So there's real love in a bottle here. We've made sure there's an amethyst stone in every single bottle. And the amethyst is, it's really there as a gift. to complement the product. If you believe in crystal healing, then the idea is that the amethyst is very good for positive energy, positive thinking. And given that this is something that I'm encouraging people to sleep in and put on their head, it's the emotions around when you're using it. The oil is about really being nice to yourself, really nurturing and loving your hair, and also in the process, because we've got this wonderful aromatherapy scenting as well. It smells so amazing. It is meant to be a beautiful ritual that you get used to doing once a week. So we put the amethyst in there really just to really supercharge the oil and to put real love in the bottle.
It's doing very well. We love it. And so if you want, you can try any of their products at Pure Salon. Check them out. They also have, I really like her Instagram. She has all kinds of videos with people talking about her products, and also her demonstrating the products. So check out her Instagram as well. So thank you so much, Tabitha, for coming on Clean Chat today. You've given us so many great tips. I'll also be sharing the tips and the links in a blog. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I hope everyone has a great day. All right. Viva Clean Beauty, guys.